Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio. Sponsored by Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. I am Allison Kinney. Making headlines today, Brazil is harvesting a large second corn crop and celebrating a record yield of 95 bushels an acre. While that number may seem low to U.S. corn farmers, there's something to keep in mind about a typical Brazilian growing season.
Well, you got to remember that the farmers in Brazil live and die by soybeans. This second crop of corn is just icing on the cake. If you get your soybeans harvested on time and get the stuff in your corn planted, you don't save the farm by the corn crop, it's by the soybeans. So this is just a real bonus to have that much yield. And that yield keeps going up. But the seed companies saw the potential. They developed very short maturing hybrids suitable for central Brazil, and now it keeps going up. So, 95 bushel corn isn't much to brag about, but it's coming after 70 bushel soybeans. So that's what makes the big difference.
Despite a big corn crop, Brazil's corn exports are expected to drop compared to recent years.
I can tell you why. It's because they're doing so much corn for ethanol. Right now, about 20% of the ethanol in Brazil comes from corn, and they're building plants as fast as they can. And they're going to use about 20 million tons of corn to make ethanol, up from zero about 7-8 years ago. The ethanol production using corn is going up faster than the corn production is going up. Next year, they think it's going to be very, very profitable. So it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
Brazil's livestock sector is also requiring more of its domestic corn supplies.
Brazil is the largest poultry exporter in the world. The poultry and the hogs are located in southern Brazil, and they're always at a corn deficit in that southern part of the country. So the corn that's produced up in central Brazil, a lot of it has moved down to the livestock sector in southern Brazil. So yes, and of course, with all the ethanol plants, you get DDGs, so they're also being moved down to southern Brazil and exported as well. I just wrote a story. The only railroad in Mato Grosso just gets into the southeast corner of the state, but they are now building an extension that also is going to get up into the central part of the state, which is the heart of soybean production.
Again, Dr. Michael Cordonier of Soybean and Corn Advisor. Also, something to note, prices for urea, a key ingredient in the world's fertilizer supplies, have surged globally alongside escalating violence in the Middle East. Bloomberg said violence is interfering with the flow of urea supplies from one of the highest producing regions in the world. Almost half of the world's urea exports are sourced from manufacturing facilities located along the Persian Gulf. Iran and Egypt have already lowered production. John Linville of StoneX says the world's lost its number 3 and 4 urea exporters in the world with that reduction. Those two countries are responsible for 20% of the global urea trade in 2024. One of the most commonly used nitrogen fertilizers, urea, provides one of the most vital nutrients to make global food production possible. U.S. Gulf urea spot prices, a global price benchmark, rose approximately 16% in the past week. Middle East prices also rallied 11% last week.
If your summer road trip leads you to Ohio's farm country, be sure to share the road with Ohio's farmers. Farm machinery moves slowly, makes wide turns, and needs extra space to avoid obstacles like mailboxes and guardrails. Let's all be mindful and make sure everyone gets home safe and sound this year. This message brought to you by the Ohio AgNet, OSU Extension Ag Safety and Health Team, and this station.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says the House will act quickly on the Senate's version of the president's tax and farm spending bill to get the measure to the president's desk by the target date of July 4th. With so much riding on the bill, including billions in new farm support, Speaker Johnson is ready to cut short the traditional July 4th recess.
So if the Senate does its work on the timeline that we expect, we will do our work as well. And I think everybody's ready for that.
The House, coming back early next week, will be ready if the Senate can pass the bill by the weekend.
We work out the final details. They would get that passed maybe by Friday, Saturday. And I've told our members, we just had the big House Republican Conference meeting, the weekly meeting, and I said, keep your schedules flexible.
But late in the week, the Senate was trying to find workarounds to the parliamentarians' ruling against SNAP and Medicaid policy changes and working with the House on climate and state and local tax breaks.
And We've got to get the salt negotiation number right. We've got to make sure the IRA subsidies are handled in an appropriate manner. You've got a number of provisions. We want to make sure that we hold by our commitment that we are not cutting Medicaid.
Though Democrats insist and some moderate Republicans fear that's what's happening. But GOP leaders argue there's much good in the bill, including improved reference prices and crop insurance coverage for farmers, helping for livestock producers, and a raft of tax breaks. No Democrats are expected to support the bill, so its fate is fully in the hands of Republicans. This market report is brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. July corn up 8 even at 417.5. December corn up 6 even at 427. July soybeans up 5 even at 1027 3/4. November soybeans up 8 1/4 at 1024 3/4. July wheat up 3 3/4 at 524 3/4. And September wheat up 4 even at 540 3/4. This is the Ohio AgNet.